Oh, hello. It's been a while since I've been online. I think about a week. But, we're getting back into Shadowrun Hong Kong. Last time we finished the game, or at least the game's main campaign. And now, we're doing the bonus campaign. I'm a little baby, so I'm gonna go with easy combat. And this is the one. Something is wrong. The last thing that you remember was the night of the Kowloon City riots. You and your team were running an errand for Kindly Ching, recovering an object before the inevitable police response turned the city upside down. Everything was going well. You had the item in hand, and then nothing. The world went black. A sudden explosion of pain behind your eyes jolts you back to the present. A nightmarish succession of dream images flicker through your consciousness like a strobe light. A man with a pockmarked face. Slim fingers playing over the surface of your brain, leaving a slug's trail of agony in their wake. A second figure whose face you couldn't see, digging with relish through the scraps of memory that your tormentor left behind. It was a rough night, and now, as your eyes snap open and adjust to the light, you find yourself in a reality that is a little more comforting. A single bulb hangs from a corrugated steel roof. The dim light that it casts is barely enough to illuminate the table in front of you. Your head throbs in time with your heartbeat, and each pulse gives rise to a low, grinding, stomach-churning discomfort. Heavy weights on your wrists tell you that you've been handcuffed. You squeeze your eyes shut and count to 10. The pain in your head slowly dissipates, and your vision gradually swims back into focus. There's a rag on your lap, an old dishcloth, matted with congealed blood. The dull ache that radiates from the bridge of your nose up and into your sinuses tells you where it came from. Examine my surroundings. The room is dark, far too dark for you to make out its dimensions. All that you can see with any clarity are your own lap and the table in front of you. Try to focus. Squinting, you try to focus on the hazy objects in the distance. A searing jolt of pain is your reward. With the pain comes a dream image, branded into your memory with crystal clarity. The first of your tormentors, the man with the pockmarked face. For a few torturous seconds, the image swims through your head, wriggling like an eel. Then, as suddenly as it came, the pain dissipates, fading away until it's swallowed by the relentless ache that throbs between your temples. In the distance, you can hear the pop hiss of a pneumatic door unlatching and sliding open. An enormous figure steps into the room, and the door slides shut behind him. You can just barely make out the silhouette of the troll standing across the table from you. Your other senses work to fill in the blanks. He's got a heavy build. The floor creaks every time he shifts his weight. The rustle of fabric over hard, sharp keratin tells you that he has prominent dermal deposits. He's also wearing way too much cologne. Ugh. I inhaled spit. Ugh. From the chest up, the darkness swallows him. You can't see his face. The room remains silent as he busies himself arranging objects on the table in front of him. A notepad, a mug of soy calf, an old ballpoint pen, and an audio recorder. Finally, he looks up from the objects and focuses on you. "Good morning, Miss Jones." The words roll in his throat like rocks in his... The words roll in his throat like rocks in a tumbler. "How are you feeling today? Did you sleep well?" "Oh, I slept like a baby. The chair is much cozier than it looks." He chuckles. "Yeah, I'll bet. Glad to hear that you're keeping your spirits up. Sorry about the nosebleed, by the way. It's a common side effect of magical interrogation. Shouldn't cause you any more trouble." "You had your people poke around in my head, didn't you? They did something to me while I was unconscious." "Yeah, that's right. I made probe your mind while you slept." He lifts the mug out of the light and tucked toward his lips. You hear a long, loud slurp as he sucks the steaming fluid down. "Don't know the man myself, but I'm given to understand that he's good. Uses a light touch." "Not he. Them. 2 of your people went to work on my head last night." He pauses a moment, considering, then shrugs. "Afraid you're wrong about that. There couldn't have been anyone else." "Your pal with the skin condition didn't mess up my nose. It was the other one. The second mage. I couldn't see her face." He shrugs. "Must be a figment of your imagination. It happens sometimes. The brain invents details to try and make sense of what's happening to it. Give it a few days and the confusion should fade away. You'll see." "Somehow I don't find your argument very convincing." "We don't even have 2 mages on site, Seattle. There's no way that you got scanned twice." He shrugs his broad shoulders. "But hey, believe what you want. Don't let it distract you though. You've got work to do. Now, let's get to it, shall we?" He shuffles his papers, slips open the notebook on the table with the tip of his pen. "Run me through what happened last night." "Your mage has already dredged through my memories. You know everything that I do." "You pulled a lot of facts from your brain, it's true, but they're all jumbled. It'd take a lot of guesswork on our part to piece them together into a coherent narrative. You cooperate with us? Tell us the story as you remember it, and you can spare us some of that work. That'll be good for you in the long term. If you lie to me, though, well, just don't. I'll know it. Now, if you please, tell me what happened last night. Just start at the beginning and take me through it until the moment that we picked you up." "Not until I know what happened to the rest of my team." "We've got them. They are fine. You can see them after you've told us what we want to know." "Make you a deal. I'll talk when you crack a window in here." There's a long pause before he answers. "That's supposed to be a joke?" "No joke. And here's some free advice. Next time, go easy on the mask. I'm on the verge of gagging over here." "I'd suggest that you keep your breakfast where it is. Besides, there aren't any windows in here to crack. It's just you and me and this light bulb, and it's gonna go on being that way until you give me what I need. Now, let's get started, shall we? We already know that you went to Combat Pangs, the biker bar. That your boss, Kindly Ching, sent you out there to conduct a shakedown of some kind. The owner of the bar had something that didn't belong to him. Auntie Ching just sent us to get it back." "Right, the artifact. Says here that it was a jade Kong from the Liangzhu period, dated back to 3000 BC or thereabouts." "That's right. Pang stole it because he thought that it was magical. Turns out it was just old. Our mage confirmed as much. Oh, we've got your boss's Kong locked up for safekeeping, by the way. It's in good hands with us. Now, we know that you didn't go to Pangs alone. One at a time, could you please list the other members of your team? Isabel, never know when you'll need a decker. The dwarf girl, quiet little thing. He jots down a note on his pad. Okay, and who else? Ractor was there, watching my back. The rigger, creepy son of a bitch. Another scribbled note. Right, got it. And who is the last member of your team? Duncan, the ex-cop. Nothing I hate more than a good guy gone bad. The pen dances over the pad a final time, then stops. Your interrogator glances up at you. Alright, so Ching sent the group of you to combat Pangs to recover a very old rock. And she sent you on the eve of one of the bloodiest riots in Kowloon City's history. Funny timing, don't you think? Yeah, maybe. Kindly Ching has a flair for the dramatic, but for the most part, the riot worked to our favour. Ooh, are we in the mission now? Flashback! The distant sounds of urban chaos rang in your ears as you led your team through a series of constrictive back alleys. It was hot out, sweltering, and the humidity left your body drenched. A bad night for a riot, but it made for good cover. You'd been making good time since you left Hawaii, and combat Pangs was only a few blocks away. We're getting close. His voice was as gruff as always. Stay alert, people. I've heard stories about the go-gangs that Pang runs. The Triple Eights, the Black Sun Boys, the Grinders. Packs of animals and leather jackets, all of them. And they like to let their knives do the talking. Yeah, we get it. They're bad people. That's why Auntie Ching sent us out here in the first place. Isabel flips an errant strand of hair back over her shoulder. We're bad people too, remember? Ractor nodded. We banished a Yama King. I think that we can handle a few intoxicated bikers. I'm not worried about Eddie Pang or the punks that hang out at his bar. We've got a job to do and we're gonna do it. Yes, of course. He dropped the burning stub of his cigarette to the asphalt and ground it under his boot. Speaking of which, we should keep moving, my friend. The riots make for excellent cover, but they won't last forever. Best that we be finished before they burn themselves out, or the police arrive to put them down. The alleyway stretched out ahead of you. Its claustrophobic confines seemed to converge together in the distance. Your team began to move. The bodies had been reduced to a bloody ruin. Their mouths were frozen open in expressions of silent terror. Your team gathered to examine the remains. These people were shot in the back. I don't see any weapons on them either. Somebody gunned them down while they were trying to run away. Bad night to go wandering. Speaking of which... Right, let's get to Pangs. We don't want to stay out here any longer than we have to. Which way is Pangs? Stay where you are. Oh, they got a sniper? The Hong Kong police force patrols stare you down, their weapons held at the ready. In the center of the pack, a man in heavy tactical armor looms over the others. The plate of his armor were emblazoned with the regalia of Hong Kong's elite special duties unit. One of the cops cupped his hands to his mouth and barked out a command. You! Hey you! Stop moving and put your hands in the air! Tough words, but he sounded nervous. We don't want any trouble. We're just trying to get home. That is your final warning. Stay where you are and put your hands... The SDU officer cuts in. His speech was slow and languid. He sounded vaguely bored. Save your breath, Constable. Look at this woman's clothes, her gear. These people are armed criminals and they're breaking curfew. You have your orders. Wait there, let's just talk about this, alright? The big man growled into his throat mic, his amplified voice reverberating through the claustrophobic confines of the alleyway. Open fire! Oh. I can get to just a second. Then run up here. And hopefully pick off the sniper. Ooh, this is new. Also, the audio's glitched and I can still hear Koshai running around. If I give Duncan an aim base, kill myself, and then that noise of Koshai running is really annoying. Might as well just take a pot shot at this guy. But never mind. Oh, a police comlink. Without warning, the cracked and bloody comlink that you pulled off the body of the SDU officer crackled to life. A second later, a cold voice poured through the device's speaker. Constables, this is Crane. It's her. The cop on all the newscasts when the APB on us went live. She set up the ambush that killed Carter and fucked up our lives. I want all units to move into position and sound off. We will then hold action until I say otherwise. We will put this riot down and restore this city to order. This riot is a response to police brutality in Kowloon City, Seattle. Something tells me that Crate's plan to restore order isn't going to be gentle. We don't want to be out here when that call comes in. Let's keep moving then. We'll try to keep the distractions to a minimum. Good call. Even if we could handle whatever Crate is planning, Kindly isn't paying us to kill cops. I mean, it's your call, but Pang's bar is right around the corner. I'd suggest that we just beeline it there. This block was harder hit by the riots than others you've been through. The air had been churned into a noxious slurry of soot, ash, and tear gas. It was stomach-churning, beyond foul. Through the haze, you could see a patrol squad of Hong Kong Police Force constables, facing off against a man and a woman in shabby winter coats. The man was doubled over coughing, clutching a loaf of bread in one hand and a cheap pocket knife in the other. The woman was holding a small crowbar, frozen like a deer in the headlights. Both were clearly terrified. A half-dozen laser dots played over their bodies, projected from the sights of the constables' weapons. "Drop your weapons! Get on your knees, do it now!" The knife hit the ground, clattering to a rest on the asphalt. "Please, our house burned down in the riots. We just needed water and food. We aren't looters, we just needed to eat." "I don't believe that they can see us through the smoke. But if we get too close, we'll be in the same boat as those poor fools. Best to leave them to their fate and slip around the police. Give them a wide berth and get on with our evening." The SDU sergeant's voice boomed out over integrated speakers in his tactical armor. "On your knees! This is your last warning!" "Please, you're not listening. We had no choice." His voice trembled, and he held the loaf of bread out for the constables to see. The flimsy plastic that wraps it shimmers in the lamplight. "I've dropped the knife. We don't have any guns. This is just a loaf of bread." The SDU Major's amplified voice rolled lazily out of his speakers. "He's got a weapon, men. Kill them both." I have heard enough. Fuck cops." The constables wailed at the sound of your voice, but you were faster than they were. You caught them flat-footed. think for Raptor, it's safest to stay back here and let Koshai go up front. And then from there, overclock Koshai. And Koshai can move up here. And then Isabel can also stay back here and grenade the back row. Oh shit. Well, never mind then. It's times like these that I wish Gobbet was here. But, armor myself up. Give Duncan extra aim. Oh right. No. I can't believe I accidentally just sent him running like a fool, like a madman. Ouch. But this should be a relatively simple fight. Oof. The civilians blink up at you, their faces ashen. The man still hugs his stolen loaf of bread in his terror. He's crushed it into an hourglass shape. We're alive, oh thank God, we're still alive. We've seen the police do brutal things here before, but nothing like this. They're gonna kill us. Kill us! Over 3 millions worth of bread. Listen to me. The cops are locking this entire area down. You need to get out of here and off of the street. You don't have to tell us twice. Come on, love. Let's find a place to hide until this blows over. The police comlink crackled to life again. Crate. All teams, ready your weapons and prepare for my mark. Do not, I repeat, do not move before you are instructed to. Anyone who fails to obey this command will answer to me. Await my instructions. Crate out. A group of middle-aged people in shabby clothing were gathered in the street, huddled together and clutching their positions. They were wide-eyed, staring, some obviously in shock. The riots had taken their toll. A man with a patchy beard, the leader of the group by the looks of things, leaned forward, his eyes shifting from one member of the congregation to the next. His voice was low and urgent, his tone serious. Look, we can't stay here. Let's gather what we can carry, go to the barricades at the edge of town and show the cops our IDs. Once we can prove that we live here and that we're unarmed, they'll let us through. That's the plan. If you leave town, I'd advise you to sneak out. Stick to the back alleys, and whatever you do, don't approach the cops. The back alleys are full of lunatics. The riots are still going on all around us. There are gangers and looters and triad thugs. We need to get someplace with bright lights and safety and security. We've got to go to the cops, ask for help. You can't trust the police. If you go to them, you're going to regret it. The cops. I like our odds better with them than I do with people out here on the streets. If you need anything from your homes, clothes, heirlooms, valuables, go get them and be quick about it. We'll meet back up here in 10 minutes, and then we're headed for the barricade. We're getting out of this death trap. Well, I tried to warn them. A lanky man in a skin-tight vest leered at you as you entered the bar. He looked like a low-level go-ganger, dressed in Black Sun Boys colours. He stepped out in front of you to block your progress. Bar's closed, on order of the boss. Step on out of here, now. You have no idea who you're talking to, do you? He shook his head, defiance in his eyes. No, I don't, and I don't care. In here, you're nothing, unless Combat Pang says different. His hand lowered to the knife at his belt. Now, I'm gonna give you a choice. Get moving or start bleeding. That's a nice knife. Rector, how much damage do you think he could do to Koshai with that thing? The rigger's lips parted into a thin smile. None at all, my friend. Rector's murderous drone scuttled forward with alarming speed, its chassis all hard edges and gleaming metal. It reared back, splaying its killing legs wide. Rector's smile widened. None at all. The ganger's eyes went comically wide, and the bravado he'd been displaying a moment ago evaporated. He started backing away, his hands raised in surrender, his lip trembling. Hey, I don't wanna... He looked back over his shoulder, toward the bar. Boss? A low voice grumbled out from beside the bar. Fuck me sideways, Jimmy. Have I gotta do everything myself around here? What do I even keep you around for? Eddie Combat Pang, the owner of Combat Pangs and the ringleader of half a dozen Kowloon City go-gangs, the Black Sun Boys included. He leered at you through a mouthful of gold-capped teeth. Pang was a living stereotype, the surly dwarf in the flesh, 10 tons of Napoleon complex in a 70-kilo body. Alright, you won't listen to my boy? Maybe you'll listen to me. We are closed, and if you want to keep all your fucking teeth, you'll turn around and go back the way you came. We aren't customers, little man. We're here on business. He rapped his fingers against the bar. An innocuous gesture, but it set alarm bells ringing in your head. All around you, gangers start shifting into ready positions. Their smile was growing ugly, hands creeping toward holsters. From somewhere in the back of the room, you heard an ominous sound. Heavy footsteps and the scrape of something metal against the floorboards. Yeah? And, what kind of business are we talking about? You first. Tell me about that Kong you lifted. What's a man like you want with a Neolithic artifact anyway? What business is it of yours? His mouth dips into a frown. He holds the expression for a few seconds, then shakes his head. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and answer that for you. It's none of your fucking business. The rock belongs to me now. End of story. Keep going on like that, and you might not have a bar to put it in. That a threat, arsehole? Sure sounded like one. You're standing in my home right now. See all these people around you? They're my friends. And they don't take kindly to strangers who come in here trying to throw their weight around. The alleyways outside are crawling with cops and they're preparing for something big. You sure you want gunfire in here? If they hear it, they'll have to investigate. Yeah, and wouldn't that be terrible? We certainly don't want any trouble with the police. Course, you'd be dead, so. He spreads his hands with a smile. More shifting from the assembled gangers in the bar. Some of them looked angry, ready to start shooting and cutting, but others were clearly concerned. Kindly Ching's name carried a lot of weight in Kowloon City, and everyone knew the Yellow Lotus. The shift wasn't difficult for you to see. Pang could see it too. Tell you what, I'm in a generous mood tonight, and I don't really need the rock for anything. Sounds like Ching's got you in a bind, and you're gonna be in trouble with her if you don't bring it back tonight. So, I'll sell it to you. Give me, say, 500 new yen and I'll have my boys box out. I've got a better idea. You give me the rock, and I'll try extra hard to convince Kindly not to burn your bar to the ground. I can't let you take it for free. That'd set a bad example for the boys. It's mine. You've got to give me something for it. Oh, I am giving you something. My help in keeping the Yellow Lotus from murdering your entire family. That goes for everyone in this room, by the way. The corners of his mouth drew down into an ugly scowl. He took another moment to size you up, his eyes darting from you to each member of your team. Then he glanced back at his gangers. They were jumpy, nervous. His slab-like hands curled into fists. It's in a cubbyhole behind the bar. Go on, take the thing and get out. More trouble than it was worth anyway. Sweet. Well, we've got Kindly's rock. All you've got to do now is get it back home. We better get moving. Something metallic hits the ground at your feet, cutting you short. A canister of some kind. You didn't hear where it came from. By the time you could process what was happening, it was too late. The metal tube erupted, spraying out a hissing stream of concentrated vapor. In the distance, you could see a group of figures wearing gas masks. Not riot control cops and not SDU, but official looking, wearing red uniforms. They were already moving in, beelining in your direction. You made a grab for your weapon, but your movements were sluggish and your vision started to swim. You tried to call out to your companions, but all that came out was a grunt. An overpowering chemical tang filled your nostrils. You felt like you were fallen, and the world turned black. Your words rang metallically off the confinement room's walls. You've been talking for so long, recounting all the tedious details of your run, that your voice hums in your ears after you've finished speaking. The single flickering bulb above your head sways in an invisible breeze. Beyond the light's reach, your interrogator stands shrouded in shadow. You can't see his eyes, but you can feel them quietly observing you from the safety of his corner. His silence opens the floodgate to your thoughts, and the questions come pouring in. Were you brought here alone? With others? Most of all, what do your captors want from you? You've finished your story. There's nothing left to tell. It's his turn to talk. The troll lifts his audio recorder from the table and clicks it off. He stands in silence for a moment, looming over you, sizing you up. Then he presses his lips and nods. That's when we picked you up. That's right. When I came to, I was already handcuffed and sitting in this chair. Very good. Thank you for recapping all of that for me, Mrs. Jones. Your testimony was extremely helpful. And now that you've helped us, it's only fair that you learn something in return. Right? What's that? The troll pulls an object out of a police evidence bag marked with the Hong Kong Police Force logo. A PDA with a cracked case, stippled with day-old blood. We recovered this at the scene. Take a look and see what we saved you and your team from. He sets the PDA down on the desk, activates it with the tip of his pen and slides it toward you. Just watch. Don't touch. You don't want your fingerprints on this thing. The feed is shaky. Whoever owned this device must have been panicked, out of breath. You can see people, swarms of people, including the locals that you had spoke to on the street. All are carrying burdens of some kind or another. A laptop here, a knapsack there. Backpacks bulging with shrink-wrapped food and bottled water. None of the locals appear to be armed. The camera wheels around and you can see a firing line of police. The man with the patchy beard is pleading with them, begging to be let through. He says that he isn't a rioter, that none of the people here are. The constable, faceless behind his mask, says nothing. The camera focuses in on a figure behind police lines. Her features are instantly familiar. Chief Inspector Crate. She looks straight into the camera, then she reaches her hand to an ear and speaks into her comlink. Her voice is loud and clear enough that you can hear it over the PDA's tinny speakers. All teams, you know your orders. Open fire. Put them down. An explosion of gunfire fills your ears. The camera spins crazily and you catch a panoramic view of bodies bursting like water balloons. Faces that you recognize from your trip to Combat Pang's scream for help and are silenced. The second volley of gunfire catches the owner of the PDA. You hear him shriek, watch the camera spin dizzyingly. You hear a sickening crack and the video feed flickers and dies. The PDA goes silent. Without a word, your interrogator lifts it from the table and returns it to its evidence bag. You think that any of this comes as a surprise? The cops have a reputation. Yes, they do. And under Crate they've earned it. Officially, the Special Duties Unit suppressed the riot just like they were supposed to. That's the story that all of the news outlets are running with. Unofficially, it was a massacre, and if we hadn't pulled you out of there, you'd have been gunned down with the rest. You must need me for something. If you didn't, you would have let Crate and her men take me down. Solid reasoning. Let's just say that people at the top have had their eyes on you for a while now. You'll get all the answers you need soon enough. The troll stretches, slips his pen back into his breast pocket, and flips his notepad shut. Then he taps a series of keystrokes into his PDA, and the cuffs around your wrists go slack. The lights in the room come up, and for the first time, you can see his face, and the badge on his hip. Hong Kong Police Force, standard issue. A laminated card clipped to his breast pocket states his name. Inspector David Yan. Okay, I think we're done here. And what are you charging me with, Inspector? Nothing. You aren't under arrest. You and your team are here as guests of the Hong Kong Police Force, and you're going to remain that way until we tell you differently. Guests of the Hong Kong Police Force? You're going to have to clarify that. Not my job. You'll need to speak with Q and Lam for that. Don't you worry. They'll be sending for you soon enough. Q and Lam? Who are they? You'll find out. The door looks solid. You can't see any visible doorknob or latching mechanism from where you're standing. Most likely it's barred from the other side. The door is made of heavy steel. It appears to be mounted to a set of tracks at the top and bottom of the doorframe, designed to slide rather than to swing open. When closed, it sits flush with the wall. Your best guess is that the room you're in was built in one piece, and that the door was later cut from it. You slam your shoulder into the door. It rings like a gong, but it doesn't budge. You rear back, take a deep breath, and throw another shoulder check. The clanging noise that reverberates inside of the room is impressive, but the door doesn't budge. You do it again, a third time. Nothing. Eventually, you hear the sound of muffled voices on the other side of the door, followed by a dull thunk. The scrape of metal dragged over metal fills your ears. The door pops open, but only a crack. A sliver of daylight streams through from the other side. The sun stabs your eyes as you step from the interrogation room into the noonday sun. Blinking against the glare, the world gradually swims into focus. A familiar face greets you. Vic, you're out. Thank God. They've had you locked away in there since we got here. He leans to peer into the trailer. Looks empty? The way that you were pounding on the door, I assumed that somebody was beating on you in there. Nobody beat on me, but one, maybe more than one, of their mages probed my mind. Wasn't pleasant. Magical interrogation? He lets out a low whistle. Bastards are pulling out the big guns. The thing is, they should have been interrogating us all at the same time. Comparing our accounts and memories of the evening. Doesn't make any sense for them to question you for hours while we're all sitting out here. None of this makes sense. Our captors wear the uniforms of police constables, but this isn't central booking. It sounds and smells like an impound lot, and gassing you like they did is anything but standard procedure. Gaichi, what are you even doing here? You weren't on the run with us. I was taken, just as you were. He looks away. It is a long story. You know what else doesn't make sense? The cops coming after us at all. I mean, the AVB on us was lifted, right? That's what Auntie Ching said after we got out of the walled city. It was lifted. The APB that Josephine Sang had crate put on us came with a kill or capture order attached to it, and they weren't paying much attention to the capture part. If the APB hasn't been lifted, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd all be dead, just like Nightjar and Carter. Duncan's back stiffens, but he holds his tongue. We should be dead now. We're in a secure facility somewhere. Instead, we're sitting in an impound lot. And not just us, either. She gestures into the distance. At the edge of the impound yard, tethered to the docks, the rustling hulk of the bolt hole rises above its surroundings. Heavy chains snake up from secure moorings in the docks to heavy maglocks that clamp down on the vessel's hull. She isn't going anywhere. They didn't just arrest us. They arrested our damn boat. and those of us on board were taken along for the ride. No warning was given. They simply hooked us to a tug, cut away our moorings, and hauled us away from the harbour. Can you shed any more light on this at all, Seattle? I mean, did whoever you talked to in there let anything else slip, or anything? He mentioned a couple of names. Any of you ever heard of anyone named Lam or Q? I know a lot of people named Lam. Q too. They aren't uncommon names. Considering where we are, I'd guess that they're high-ranking cops. Beyond that, though, your guess is as good as mine. Gaichu suddenly leans toward the cell door, his head cocked, an eyebrow raises. He lifts a gnarled hand, gesturing for the team to halt. Do you hear that? Footsteps. Someone is coming. He lowers himself into a ready stance. Prepare yourselves. We're about to have company. A uniformed constable wearing a sergeant's insignia passes through a set of double gates and into your holding pen. She walks with an air of quiet authority, her face an expressionless mask. A pair of wary eyes fix themselves on you. Seattle. Her voice is crisp and cold. Step forward, please. She nods, raises her PDA and begins to type in a series of commands. Thank you for your cooperation. Senior Inspectors Lam and Q want a word with you. I think I'd like a word with them too. She nods, raises her PDA and begins to type in a series of commands. That's the right attitude. Very good. In a moment I'm going to let you out of this cage. When I do that, I want you to make your way to the command trailer near the edge of the docks. Don't try anything stupid. You're being watched. I've served time in a corporate prison. I know what not to do. I hope so, for your sake. She punches a final button on her PDA, and the massive gates to the pen that hold you begin to rumble open. Go on. Start walking. You don't want to leave the senior inspectors waiting. Right, so where's the command trailer? Is it over here? Oh wait, no. I did not notice the arrow, nor the little blip. The door blip. The cramped confines of the command trailer are packed to the gills with security-rated technology. Terminals and surveillance packages, all stamped with the Mitsuhama logo, fill every inch of available space. Just ahead of you, a pair of senior inspectors, one male, one female, stand over a command console. The man offers you a friendly smile. Ah, Mrs. Jones, you're here, very good. I'm Senior Inspector Andy Lamb, one of the leaders of the task force. Thank you for coming so promptly. You say that as if I had a choice. The woman, an elf, replies through a mouth that seems drawn into a permanent scowl. Seems like you've got a firm grasp on the situation. That's good, it will save us some time. Now I've got a real bastard of a migraine, so let's try to make this quick. Yes, of course. He offers her a slight bow. My apologies, Senior Inspector Q. And as for you, Seattle, you must be wondering what you and your team are doing here. That's the understatement of the century. Where do you get off kidnapping me and my crew? Q cuts in. It wasn't a kidnapping, Seattle. We did you a favor by pulling you off the streets. Yang showed you the video. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you did me a favor. Why? Out of the kindness of your hearts? Don't be ridiculous. Of course not. We helped you because we've got a problem and you're in a unique position to help us solve it. This is a job offer, Seattle. We want to hire you. Can't say I think much of your recruitment tactics. I'm sure that you don't, but you can't deny their effectiveness. Go ahead and pull up the file, Lamb. Lamb nods, and his fingers dance over his PDA's keypad. He raises the device to show you what he's pulled up on the display. From the device's tiny screen, a familiar face leers back at you. Lamb holds it to your face for a few seconds and pulls the device away. You have history with this woman. He phrases it as a statement, not a question. Yep, that's great. When the APB went out on me and Duncan, she's the one who appeared on the Trid to tell the world. Chief Inspector Crate is a highly decorated officer, the leader of the Hong Kong Police Force's elite Special Duties Unit. Within the police force, she's universally respected and feared. She's also the unofficial face of the Special Duties Unit in the Hong Kong media circuit. When they need a talking head for a news broadcast, she's the woman they go to. To her fellow inspectors, Crate is a hero and a role model that go to bat for her without a second's hesitation. The woman has a lot of pull. Hence your need for an outsider. That's right. Key members of the Executive Council believe that Crate is at the centre of a criminal conspiracy within the Hong Kong police force. That she and her co-conspirators have been working as mercenaries under our noses, taking on illicit side work for profit and tarnishing the Hong Kong police force's good name in the process. This task force was assembled to investigate that suspicion. They believe that she's gone bad? Gee, what was their first clue? Her association with Josephine Tsang, funny enough, including the APB that Tsang had Crate put out on you. You may be aware that your name was cleared, by the way, that the APB was lifted and your files scrubbed clean. Lamb and I were the ones who made that happen. I knew that was going to come back and bite me somehow. That APB should never have been called on you in the first place, Seattle. We rescinded it to correct an injustice, not to put you in our debt. Now, we understand that the prospect of working with a police task force could feel foreign to you, and I fully expect that you have questions you'd like to ask. If there's anything pressing that you'd like to know, I'll do my best to answer. Here's one. Why me? There are plenty of other runners in Hong Kong. Other runners don't have a built-in reason to want Crate dead. You do. Beyond that, you're the perfect deniable asset for this job. If you get caught or killed, the SDU will assume that you're there to get revenge for what they did to you. So if I get caught doing this job for you, you're going to leave me to twist. How's that any different from any other job you've worked? Besides, what we've pulled from you in our interrogation has convinced us that we can trust you for this. That's invaluable to people in our position. How the hell did you get my boat here without Conley Ching stopping you? What makes you think that she could stop us? The Yellow Lotus is powerful, but we have a navy at our disposal. Navy? What did you do? Attack Hoi? No, of course not. We've made a token show of force, and that was that. Kindly Ching doesn't want the Marine Police parking a Sea Panther off the Hoi docks any more than anybody would. As highly as she might think of you, she wasn't about to risk a shooting war to keep us from towing your houseboat. I want to know who I'll be working with if I do this. What are your roles in this organization? I handle the technical side of the investigation. Decking, information monitoring and control surveillance work. That sort of thing. Q is on loan from Mitsuhama Corporate. She's a cop, just like I am, but her primary responsibility is safeguarding the company's image and financial interests. Mitsuhama? What does a Japanacorp care about some dirty cops in Hong Kong? The Hong Kong police force is owned and operated by Mitsuhama. The company is obviously concerned by what's happening here, so they dispatched me to help them lead the investigation. Consider me a corporate liaison, here to bridge the gap between the suits and the uniforms. As long as you're paying me, I don't care who you work for. That's the spirit. Tell me where this impound lot is located. I want to know how far from home you've taken me. We're nearer to Aberdeen than we are to Hoy. That's about all that you need to know. Secrecy is one of our most important tools for survival, Seattle. We can't give you an exact address. I'd like to go back to Hoy. You gonna let me do that? You choose to work with us? Certainly, when the job is done. If you refuse, on the other hand, well, that's a more complicated decision. So you're coercing me into helping you, dangling my freedom over my head. Our motives aren't sinister, Ms. Jones, but you do know about this task force, and unfortunately, that makes you a security risk. If you refuse to help us, we're going to have to hold you here for your own safety. You can go back to Hoy when the job is done, and Crate and her people are behind bars. However long that takes. That's right, however long it takes. Or you could just help us and be home in a day or two. Your call. I'm done asking questions. So what's next? What's next is that we let you go. For now. Take some time, think it over, and come back when you're ready to seal the deal. After you've accepted, we'll go into the details of the run. I'm not accepting anything from you without running it by my team first. That's why we're letting you go. Talk to them and tell them exactly what we've told you. We are confident that they'll want to work with us. They should be heading to the bolt hole as we speak. She pauses. Fun name, by the way. When you've made your decision, come back to us. No rush, no pressure. We're not trying to coerce you into doing this. We're all on the same team, after all. I'll talk to my people. No promises. Alright then. I've never actually played the bonus mission, so this is all new for me. As you pass through the hatch and step into the familiar confines of the bolt hole, you find your team waiting for you. Well, this is a hell of a thing. Gobbet absent-mindedly passes a rat from one hand to another. The rodent squeals and chirps in delight. You said it, Gunshow. Not our best day ever as a team. So what's the deal, Seattle? Who captured us? Are they really cops, or are we dealing with something else here? They're puppets for the executive They're puppets of the executive council. Technically Hong Kong police force, but closer to wage slaves than real detectives. Knew it. This whole thing had the Hong Kong police force's stink all over it. They can dress up however they want, but at the end of the day, a cop is a cop. So what does this task force want with us? Did they pitch their agenda to us? To you? Funnily enough, I think that this whole thing is going to work to our advantage. Oh? In what way? They've got their sights set on Chief Inspector Crate. If memory serves, Auntie Ching wants her dead too. Well, that is interesting. A smile begins to spread across his face. If that's what they want, then you won't hear any arguments from me. Or me. Much as I hate getting jerked around like this, the prospect of getting some payback for Nightjar is awfully enticing. So what did you tell them? I told them that I wouldn't agree to anything until I ran it by you. Huh. Well, I guess it's nice to know you're thinking of us. So, what's our next step? We call up our fixer and tell her that we're bringing her a job for once. Okay, just, don't be too flippant about it, okay? I mean, she's gotta know that the cops have seized the bolt hole. She probably watched them tow the boat away. She's already gonna be wondering why that happened, maybe jumping to conclusions. We don't want her to come to the wrong ones. No time like the present! You tap Kindly Ching's personal comlink number into your PDA and hit the send button. A moment later, the old woman's face appears on the screen. Seattle, a pleasure to see you, dear. I've been worried sick. She swills something the colour of rotten plums out of a highball glass. Now, would you kindly tell me where the fuck you've been? The Hong Kong police force gassed us on our way out of combat pangs. They're holding me in an impound yard. Ah, I see. You're calling me from police custody. They had a mage poke around in my head, Auntie Ching. Me calling you isn't going to make much of a difference. They scanned you? How disappointing. There's a long pause. Tell me exactly what they said to you. Don't leave anything out. The people who have me aren't Hong Kong Police Force rank and file. They're working directly for the Executive Council. The leaders of the group are called Key and Lam, Auntie Ching. That's what the sergeant at the holding pen said. They're senior inspectors. Those won't be their real names, dear. Not if they're letting you contact me like this. Well, whoever they are, they're after the cops that were working for Josephine Tang. They want my help. She lifts the glass to her lips and takes another slurp of the dirty, viscous liquid. They're after the filth who ambushed you then. The ones that killed Nightjar. And Carter. Nobody gives a fuck about Carter. You should know better than to interrupt me by now, gun show. She dismisses the outburst with a wave of her hand. Now be a good boy and keep your mouth shut. Duncan clenches his jaw. He's clearly furious, but he says nothing. Right, I want you to go along with it. Tell them that you'll take the job with my blessings. I suppose that follows. You did love Nightjar. That isn't what this is about. She looks into her glass, swirling the liquid inside with a flick of her wrist. Not entirely. I've always wanted to get a runner into one of the Hong Kong Police Force's secure facilities, but it was never in the cards. Now here comes this task force, inviting you in. If you can avenge my sweet Nightjar's death in the process, well, so much the better. Understood. Any special instructions that you want me to follow? Be smart. Do nothing that could endanger the Yellow Lotus or myself, and report back to me if you see anything that could constitute a threat. Above all, keep your eyes open, and don't trust this task force of yours, whatever you do. I always keep my eyes open, Auntie Ching. That's why I'm still alive. Good girl. Oh, in Seattle? I'm sure that the police confiscated the Kong that you procured from Eddie Tang, the one that I paid you to retrieve for me. Get it back. She thumbs a button on her PDA and the screen goes blank. Well, guess that's it. She lifts her shoulders into a half shrug. We're doing this. Kindly's right. This is an opportunity for us to kill two birds with one stone. We take down the cops that hunted us, and we collect intel on the Hong Kong Police Force. Then there is no more to be said. You go back to Lam and Q and accept the job. I will ready my gear. You're not coming on a single run with us, Guy Chi. You rancid little fuck. Let's see if the mission computer has anything. The workstation and mission computer. The cool blue tones of the workstation's main menu fill the screen. Oh, getting better. A grainy video pops onto the screen. The smiling face of your adoptive father, Raymond Black, fills the frame. He looks tired, but stronger than you remember him. The flesh of his cheeks is firmer, his skin less sallow. Returning to Seattle appears to have done him a world of good. Vic, I hope that this message finds you and Duncan well. I wanted to let you know that the treatments and therapies seem to be working. The brain injury that I suffered in Prosperity Tower will take a long time to fully recover from, but I appear to be walking the correct path. I wish that you and your brother could come back to Seattle again. Feels like we've left so much unfinished, with you in Hong Kong and me here, half a world away. He looks away and the smile drops from his face. His next words, I choked with grief. It's my fault that you're condemned to a life in the shadows. You went to Hong Kong to help me, and it cost you your freedom. That is a burden that I'll carry until the end of my days. He clears his throat, forces a weak smile onto his face. My apologies. I did not intend to make you sit through an old man's maudlin ramblings. Now I'm afraid that I must go. It's time for another of my treatments. Taps his temple with a bony finger. They've already cured my stutter. Let us hope that they can do the same for my melancholy mood, eh? Take care of yourself, Vic. You and Duncan both. I'll message you again when I can. Until then, keep safe and do your best to stay out of trouble. Goodbye. The message ends, returning you to the menu. Gearing up. If you find yourself in need of gear or supplies before you run on the Tiger's Den, speak with Sergeant Lee. He's the task force's quartermaster and has been instructed to equip and supply you as if you are one of us. You'll still need to pay for your gear, but he has an extensive stock of security-rated firearms that might interest you. If you need medical supplies or cybernetic enhancements, you'll find automated kiosks in the yard that can serve your needs. For anything else, I'd recommend talking to Captain Jomo. He can supply you with whatever we can't. I only ask that you keep your business between yourselves and that you leave me out of it. Even if you feel prepared, I'd recommend that you look at whatever the yard has on offer before you head to the Tiger's Den. It's better to be over-prepared than it is to get caught flat-footed. Best of luck, Lamb. Oh, do I get to upgrade? No, I do not get to upgrade the comrades further. Welcome back. Did you talk over the job with your crew? And my boss. We've decided to help you. Q rubs the bridge of her nose between her thumb and forefinger. We'll be holding you to that. A veiled threat. Great way to start a business relationship. Nobody's threatening you, Miss Jones. Senior Inspector Q was just being careful. As long as you don't try to screw us over, you've got nothing to worry about. You've read my damned mind. You know full well that I don't betray clients. Yes, I suppose that we do. Now, Fiona, you want to get us started? A hand goes up to reflexively touch the pendant that hangs from her neck. She nods, then turns to you. Alright, pay attention, Shadowrunner. I don't want to have to repeat myself. Yeah, I'm listening. You know that Crate and her people are dirty, but we don't have any ironclad proof. We have to gather something concrete if we want to move on her. Got it, keep going. She's right. What we need is tangible evidence of Crate's wrongdoing. Financial records, written communications, video feeds, that sort of thing. You know where the proof is being held, but we can't get to it without tipping our hand. That's where you come in. So this is going to be a covert op then. You don't want things to go loud. Personally, I'd prefer it if you didn't lay waste to a police station, though Senior Inspector Q may beg to differ on that. That said, some conflict is probably going to be unavoidable, no matter what you do. We're getting ahead of ourselves though. Let's take this back a step. Crate likes to keep her people close to her. They consolidated their power into a single police station on the harbour. She leans over and pulls up an image on her terminal. An aerial holopic of a squat building crowded up against the water's edge. There it is, an old SDU headquarters and Crate's current base of operations. They call it the Tiger's Den. Seriously? That's like something out of a bad Trid show. It's a throwback to the old days before the Executive Council took over. Back then, the SDU were colloquially known as the Tigers, or the Flying Tigers. Had patches on their uniforms and everything. When Metzheimer took over the Hong Kong Police Force's contract, they did away with a lot of the old symbols, but in this case, the nickname stuck. I'm gonna get you into the station, and you're going to liberate the information that we need. Then, we're gonna take Crate and her people down. I'm hearing a lot of general talk about what's going to happen and precious few details as to how. We're getting to that. For now, I can tell you that you'll be smuggled to the insertion point by way of the harbour. We secured transport for you through an old associate of yours, a pirate and smuggler named Captain Jomo. You're working with Shadowrunners and a pirate? Aren't you supposed to be cops? We're a small task force. We work with the tools we have. As long as you and Jomo can both follow basic instructions, everything should work out fine. We've already provided him with a copy of the station's timetable. He knows when they'll be flush with cops and when they'll be running a skeleton crew. He'll time your arrival so that you'll have minimal resistance to contend with. You trusted intel of the inner workings of a Hong Kong police force station to a pirate? Those protocols will be revisited soon enough, believe me. There are going to be a lot of changes inside of the Hong Kong police force after we've completed this mission, Miss Jones. I promise you that. After Jomo gets you to the docking area, a woman on the inside will let you into the complex. You'll need to make your way up to the administrative level. That's where Crate's evidence room is located. We'll take up a position near the station and from there we'll monitor your progress. Monitor us? How? She lifts an object from the desk and tosses it to you. A portable surveillance device. Your team will be outfitted with mics, body cameras, and condition monitors before you leave. We'll have a clear view of what's going on inside of the station. So if we get in trouble we can... Oh wait, no. Alright, so you'll be monitoring me. Fine, let's get back to the briefing. When you get to the admin level, you'll be stepping into hostile territory. Crate and her people have more or less taken over the whole floor, and they won't think twice about putting a bullet in your head if they catch you there. If you encounter any resistance up there, you're going to have to shoot your way through it. They won't give you a chance to do anything else. I'll be calling in a favour with Midsummer to bring down the station's comms, so you won't need to worry about them calling in outside help. Anyone who's already in the building is your problem to deal with. What's my objective? The evidence room. The proof that we need should be stored on a disk in there, or maybe in a terminal. You'll be looking for a log of bribes accepted by Crate and the SDU. You'll also use any other proof of corruption that you can find. Transaction records, archived communications between Crate and her clients, that kind of thing. You'll pull the evidence, get back to the boat, and return the package to us at the impound yard. We'll analyze it, and once we're sure that we've got her nailed, we'll make our move on Crate. Right, so I find the evidence room, grab the data that you need, and get back to Jomo. He'll bring me back here to hand off the data. That's about the size of it. Think you can handle that? I expect it to be a challenge, but if it means payback for Crate, I can do it. Good, and it will. You'll see. We're all after the same thing here. If we work together, we can make it happen. If you need gear, talk to Sergeant Lee out in the yard. He's our quartermaster. Sure that Captain Jomo can hook you up with anything that Lee can't, including any additional personnel that you might need. The good captain asked about you, by the way. Wanted to have a word about some side work. That's okay with you? You won't try to stop me from doing my own jobs on the side? As long as you keep them quick and concise, you can do your thing. We won't interfere, but our trust has its limits. Don't even think about turning against us or sabotaging this operation. You won't like what happens if you do. We'll wait on you to launch the operation. We're on your timetable here. When you're ready to go, talk to Jomo. We clear on all of that? Yeah, we're clear. Good. We'll see you at Crate's compound then. Is this... The constable standing before you is rail thin, with a wiry build and a lantern jaw. A pair of wire-rimmed glasses perch on the bridge of his nose, and his neck is wrapped in a sinuous tattoo. He glances up from his PDA, locking eyes with you. So, you're the person of interest that everyone's been talking about. I hear that Q has big plans for you. What's it to you? What's it to me? What the hell do you think? I'm on the task force, same as them. You do your job, and I get moved to a better assignment. Maybe get a promotion. That's what it is to me. So you're relying on me then. Good to know. We're all relying on you. We're only going to get one chance at taking Crate and her people down. If you screw this up, we're all going to pay for it. Q and Lamb will take it harder than I will, but failure isn't an option for any of us. Yourself most of all. You've got more to lose than any of us. Don't worry about me. I'll get the job done. I always do. I hope that you're right. There's a lot riding on your success. So, did you need something from me? Or did you just come by to say hi? Gotta go. Go on then. Where's Lee? Not over here. Probably over here? A solitary man stands by the rear of the command trailer. He's got a PDA in one hand and a can of Harbin Ice Brand beer in the other. His eyes are intense, and he taps rapidly on the PDA screen in between sips from the can. In addition, a peculiar odour lingers around the area. The stench could best be described as a fusion of custard, cinnamon, and raw sewage. 1 second, I'll be right with you. Gotta finish checking my Fantasy Urban Brawl stats. There we are. Now, what can I do for you? Who are you? You don't look like a cop. I'm not. But then again, neither are you. We're in the same boat. Freelancers that Lamb and Q need to get their job done. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Working for the cops is strange for a freelance, right? But I figure it's a steady paycheck. So why not take the work So why not take the work when it's offered? Plus, it's safe here. It's not like I'm gonna get shot at hanging around the impound lot. Makes sense to me. Work's work. Exactly. The name's Levick Stoles, by the way. I'm the stay-at-home decking support for the Wonder Twins and their posse. No field work though, so don't ask me. I'm not about to go get shot at. Seattle, but then you probably know that already. Yeah, I know who you are. Q and Lamb have been keeping tabs on you for a long time now. Longer than I've been here anyway. With a little luck, you people will be able to get this whole situation wrapped up soon. Then I can collect the money I was promised and maybe get the hell out of Hong Kong for good. See you later. Have a good one. This is the Quartermaster. The task force's quartermaster looks disarmingly nondescript in his standard issue uniform. His posture is rigid, his spine ramrod straight. He watches you with eyes the colour of wet clay, and the corner of his mouth curls into a smile. So you're the new talent, the Shadowrunner. The brass told me that you've got clearance to buy here, so your money's welcome. If you need supplies, I can outfit you for a reasonable price. He gestures at the array of gear behind him. There are racks and racks of weapons, all neatly maintained. Off to one side, a pile of reinforced Duraplast crates catches your eye. They all bear the Hong Kong Police Force insignia, but you can also see stickers on their casings. Mitsuma, H&K, Ares Arms. They look to be military surplus. Can't sell you everything, of course. There's some gear back there that's technically off limits for someone with your clearance level. Have a look though. See if anything catches your eye, and if you're cleared for it, we'll talk price. What's in the crates over there? That's the stuff that I can't sell you. Not technically. We're talking about the big guns, the heavy ordnance, that kind of thing. Of course, it's possible that an item or two could go missing, or that the numbers on my inventory sheet could be wrong, and the odds of that happening might increase if you did me a favour. Oh, and what kind of favour are we talking about? The kind I can't trust my brothers in uniform to help me with. The kind that you go to a Shadowrunner for. You help me out, and it's possible that some merchandise could find its way from those crates to your boat. You never can tell. Describe in detail what you need me to do. A friend of mine is in trouble. Bad trouble. I'd be first in line to help him myself, but my hands are tied. I know exactly what happened to him and why, but I can't intervene to help save his life. You help my friend, and maybe I'll forget to carry the one when I'm writing out my next inventory control sheet. I've already done the legwork. You finish the job for me, see to it that my friend gets the help that he needs, and there will be a nice payday in it for you. Maybe a clerical error or two related to the gear in these crates. You'll still have to pay for the gear, but I'll do the work to make sure that nobody notices it's disappeared. Just forwarded you the pertinent details. You'll find them on your mission computer. Please, don't drag your feet on this. My friend really is in terrible trouble, and he won't hold out much longer. I'll take a look. No promises, though. Thanks. Now, you want to look at any of the gear that I got in the rack? It's up to you, pal. Just say the word. I need supplies. Let me see what you've got on the rack. What are you interested in? Magical items. Does he have anything better than what I have? No. I could get a 4/6 elemental though. Anything else? Yeah, let's look at your armor. Oh, I've already got the armor rating 8 armor, so no thanks. See you later, Quartermaster. Now, there's a sergeant here, and Jomo over here. Let's see what Jomo has to sell. Captain Jomo stands beside his speedboat, surveying the docks as if surveying his kingdom. His stance is relaxed, but an air of impatience lingers about him. His narrowed eyes and crossed arms suggest that he's been waiting a while. As you approach, his eyes light up and he throws his hands into the air. "Oh, my friend! Finally they let you out of that ugly shed. I thought there'd be many more hours at least. They have no sense of urgency." "I'm shocked. I never thought a professional smuggler like you would get picked up by the police." He puffs out his chest indignantly. "You insult me. Jomo is too slippery by far to be snared by a policeman's hook. I'm here because they paid me for the privilege, the same as any other client. What does Jomo care if they wear badges and uniforms? New Yen is New Yen, is it not? Hopefully we can both make some money while we're here." Music to Jomo's ears. If they wish our help, they must grease the wheels with Joss, and my wheels are rusty indeed. "So, my friend, how can Jomo assist you? Do you need a ride someplace? If so, say the word and we'll be off like a typhoon. Perhaps you're interested in contraband, goods of the sort that our uniformed allies will not provide. I have all manner of unusual things for sale, if you have the New Yen." What kind of unusual things? Drugs, illicit software, even one-of-a-kind sim chips. You name it and Jomo can deliver. One-of-a-kind sim chips? Call me intrigued. A single sim, truth be told. Jomo has no idea where it came from, but it seems like something that was custom made. It is, shall we say, specialty product. I haven't tried to open it myself, but the label on the chip says ratparty.sim. I do not know who would commission such a thing or why, but I will give it to you for 50 New Yen. Surely it's a bargain at that price. The mysteries of the Rat Party are surely worth such a paltry sum. What the hell, why not? Give me the chip. Very good indeed. You never know when you need one of those, yes? Now, let us speak of this no more. Let's see what you're selling, Jomo. Damn. He's got pretty cool... He's got pretty cool swords. I think I can get another ESP for Isabel, but I feel like that might be a one-time use thing from the way they're in consumables. So I might get a cool sword and give it to Duncan because he has another weapon slot. Let's go with the war sword that may do AP damage. And I can't equip it, but later, Jomo. Let's do the little job for the quartermaster. Check your inbox for new messages. Undersea lab job. From Sergeant Lee. Hey, good to see you're interested in my proposal. My friend, the one with the problem, is named Ming Kai Sao. He's been infected with a disease and he thinks it was done deliberately. Here, I've attached the video message he sent me. His condition is worsening by the day, so I'd really appreciate it if you could help him out. He's fairly high up in Monobay International. He's got a lot of money and he needs some heavy-hitting freelancers to help him out, so I figured it would be right up your alley. An elder man with a sickly pallor sits down in front of the camera and coughs several times. A series of intravenous lines have been attached to his arms, and a pair of respirator tubes snake into his nose. When he speaks, his voice is querulous and has a breathless quality to it. Lee, I know that this is a lot to ask, but I don't have anywhere else to turn. I'm dying, Lee. The bastards at Shadowrun did this to me. I don't know how, but they got someone close enough to me and they infected me with some kind of experimental bioagent. Monobez's best researchers are working around the clock, but ordinary treatments aren't cutting it. They figure they'll be able to synthesize a cure in 6 or 7 months, but I've only got about 1. Sorry, I'm pouring tea. The doctors tell me that they need to create a line of monoclonal antibodies to fight this thing. Lucky for me, I know where one is. The Shadowrun bastard that did this has been in contact with me. They say that they'll give me doses of the treatment, just enough to keep me alive, but not enough to kill all of the virus. All I have to do is sell out Monobek, give them insider information on our projects. To hell with that. They want to play with fire? So be it. I need you to use your contacts. Find me some goddamn mercenaries. Not just any mercenaries either. I'll pay top dollar and I want the best, you hear me? Monobez's information warfare teams have tracked the probable location of the gem warfare lab that this goddamn disease came from. Some undersea place out in Nao Mei Hoi, codenamed Namazu. It's totally unlisted and that means only one thing. Illegal research. The mercenaries need to get into that lab, find the germ warfare section, and get me the monoclonal antibodies that I need to live. Don't worry about getting down there. I'll loan you a mini-sub. Our security techs assure me they can't blank this facility, that they can blank the facility's sensor grid for just long enough to get a team inside. I don't care how our contractors go about acquiring the cure, so long as they get it to me quickly. If they want to be quiet little mice, great. If they feel like blowing the whole facility apart, I'm fine with that too. Just get me the goddamn cure. Let me know when you found somebody. So there you go. His family and mine have been friends for a long time, but there's no way that I can help him with it directly on this one. This is Xiaowase we're talking about here. They hold a seat on the executive council. They pay my salary, albeit indirectly. Let me know when you decide what to do. Let's go! You're reading this, you've elected to take the job. This automated reply is let Ming know, and the mini-sub should be prepped and ready when you arrive. Go talk to Jomo, and he'll take you to the submersible. I think it's time to pay Xiaowase a visit, Jomo. So we want a Decker, the Rigger, and Duncan. The trip to Lee's loaned mini-sub is uneventful, as is transit to the area near Hong Kong where Xiaowase has built their research laboratory. The sub descends swiftly, and you are kept company by the hissing of the oxygen scrubbers, and the occasional ping of active sonar striking your hull. As you near the coordinates for the lab, Jomo begins switching off all but the most essential of systems. After a few minutes, brighter light filters through the portholes as you ascend into a moon pool, and there is a dull thud as the facilities clamp closes around the sub to lift it free. Yeah, Duncan can get the sword. And I'm the only one here that can do spells. Let's give Duncan another phosphorus grenade. And give Ractor some healing items, because God love him. But he's not really the best equipped when it comes to human injury. The submarine base smells like a hospital, antiseptic and sterile despite the presence of seawater. The sharp scent of rubbing alcohol intermingles with the metallic bite of stainless steel, dominating your sense of smell and drowning out everything else. The floor vibrates faintly under your feet, soft electrical buzz, likely emanating from the electronics packed behind the facility's walls. You can hear the hum all around you, like the droning sound of 1,000 tiny wings. We made good time. Wasn't expecting to get here so quickly. You asked Jomo. He delivered. Welcome to Xiaowase's foremost bioengineering labs. Great location, yeah? I'll lock the door once you leave the room to keep uninvited guests away from our sub. This bay isn't on the same level as the labs, but there should be an elevator that you can take deeper into the sea hive. Some trams too, according to the blueprints. Go, do your job. I'll keep the sub prepped and ready for your return. But places like this, they make me feel uncomfortable. Too clean. Try not to keep it... Ow! I bit my tongue. Ah! Ow. Try not to keep Jomo waiting too long. The germ warfare lab is what we need to find. Should be a pretty straight shot from here to there. Oh, in Seattle? Places like this aren't known for the forgiving attitudes of their security staff. The guards are probably trained to shoot on sight, so we should plan on shooting them first. I'm ready. Move out. Alright. We've only got the one door. Isabel hisses under her breath, grabbing her arm. Shit, guards, look over there. There's no way we're getting past them without a fight. At least they don't seem to have seen us yet. Let's hope that this doesn't sound any alarms. So is it this one? Or is it over here? I feel like we should come over here. I didn't realize that person hadn't rendered in, and oh boy. Oh boy, this was not a good move on my part. Right, so I've got to heal myself. And then I'll spend the rest of my turn setting up a hellfire barrier. And then everyone else can no, just regular shooting's fine. And then only 69%. Nice. But I think he's not injured enough. Damn, the scientist just said bye. Sorry if you can hear my roommates, by the way. This is a 6-person flat, so... and then break line of sight with the drone. Come on, dude. Ugh. I guess there's not much else we can do. Ugh. How? How do you just shoot through a door? Hello? If you heard any of that, don't snitch. That's all I can say. How did Rector manage to hit that shot? Alright. So, let's go over here and look at shit. Just look at shit. Circuitry diagrams for some kind of neural cyberware. Large computer system, most likely used for advanced software programming. Thick bullet-resistant plexiglass forms the laboratory wall. This terminal has been left unlocked and is currently logged into a junior lab technician's user account. First message thread. Shung, how are you coming with the next revision of the Reaper Persona Fix chips? Yamada says that the Cyborg suite adjustments have been made and I'm anxious to get them into preliminary testing before the month is out. If anything is blocking you, let me know. I'll get you what you need right away. J. Nye, Senior Researcher. Everything is on schedule. We have to take some of the sleep cycle subroutines out and revise them in simulation. They're adversely affecting norepinephrine production, and our subjects weren't generating the hostility levels that we are looking for. We should have the new chips ready in the next few days. After that, we can run a few subjects in live tests. Do you have a preferred locale in mind? I'll have to check with the transport division, but I'm guessing that Shamshui-Po is the best bet. Any test that we conduct will get written off as the kind of random violence that's endemic among the sinless population there. We don't want the authorities, or heaven forbid, another megacorp, taking an interest in the tests we're running. I have a progress update for our Project Silver Dream subjects that are already out in the field, Dr. Nye. Subjects 108, 337, 72, and 210 have all been inserted into their new lives, and have been making regular check-ins via their assigned matrix drops. Details as follows. Subject 108's new identity is as a multiple mechanic with Komatsu Limited, specifically their Korean mining operations branch. 108's exposure to sensitive data is limited, but he's provided us with a great deal of inside information about Komatsu's logistics and supply chain, as well as their prospective future mining expansions. Subject 337 is an executive assistant to a middle manager at Crash Cart Medical Services. She's provided us with a wealth of recorded meeting data, and we're learning a lot about weak links in Crash Cart's management chain. Number 72 has been hired as a software engineer by Transys Neuronet Asia. He's initiated a data siphon, albeit a slow one. Reports indicate that our deeper programming has encouraged him to earn the trust of his new co-workers before stepping up the rate of data transfer. Lastly, 210 is working in the security division of Yakashima's Shanghai offices. As a Reaper chip recipient, you have the ability to trigger his kill protocol at any time. Let me know if and when you want to test that out. Given the nature of his job duties, it should prove to be a very effective test. This is fucked up. They're doing some kind of chip-based mind control down there, making sleeper agents, turning people into puppets. All the more reason to get this done quickly and get the hell out. Anything else in here? No. Well, was there anything further down the corridor? No. The lab computer's monitor glows brightly, awaiting your input. Kendrick, I need a favor from you. I need you to get me one of the non-Reaper subjects from Project Silver Dream. Should be somebody who'd be good for a blue-collar job in a cafe or a restaurant or something like that. Wipe the subject's chip clean, save the basics. We need to build a custom identity from the ground up. Give me a day to clear the paperwork with central control. Won't take more than 5 minutes to clear the persona fix for whatever slob I pull. Are you looking for any cyberware in particular? If so, that might complicate things. Most of our subjects have had pre-assigned suites instead of testing purposes. As long as the subject has relatively unobtrusive implants, it should be fine. No visible combat augmentation or obvious cyberware. Nothing like that. Use your best judgment. I have to work a few things out with Tang and pathology, so you can take your time on this. There's no rush. Good to know. I think I have one that'll work. Number 91. Human male, late 20s, average height. His only obvious implants are a data jack and an ordinary cyber leg. Pre-existing too, so it's not one of our upgraded models. Oh, I have him prepped. Yes.
Would you like some bolognese?
I'm streaming right now. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, don't worry. Project Silver Dream Asset Accounting and Disposition. Active 41 subjects. Field 29 subjects. Inactive/killed 416 subjects. Jesus. Acquisition. Subjects have been acquired from across the Hong Kong Free Enterprise Zone. Primary locations are Aberdeen, Yau Yat Chuen, I'm butchering the pronunciation, Kwantong, and Kowloon City. With the recent loss of the walled city, Kowloon has become a less attractive location for subject acquisition. Future possibilities include expansion to Shenzhen, Indonesia, and Shanghai. Also, the person who just knocked on my door and I was talking to briefly was my flatmate Sophie. She's very sweet. To date, approximately 71% of chosen subjects have been sinless, 23 possessed a criminal sin, and 6% possessed a standard sin. Given these numbers, it is unsurprising there has been no official investigation into the subject's whereabouts. However, Project Silver Dream personnel must take care not to draw attention to the project by recruiting too heavily from the same neighborhoods. I accidentally skipped a bit. Let me Did I? Okay, it just made 2 click noises. Anybody here know the door code for the medical closet in Delta 25? One of the handlers got his fingers smashed in the door and he lost a lot of blood before the tram could get him back to Gamma 4. Speaking of which, does it seem kind of stupid to anyone else that we lock up the medical closets? What gives? Gee, let me think. There isn't a lot to do down here and we've got a lot of mind-altering substances in medical closets. Why do you suppose that we keep the closets locked? While you ponder that, the code's 8236. Get what you need to fix your handler's boo-boo. But if anything goes missing, you can expect Commander Gara to come knocking. Ouch. Ouchies. I probably should have moved Duncan into cover, even if it was only light cover. Ouchies. Let's give myself an aim bonus so that I'm not absolutely useless. And let's go for the drone since that's apparently easier to hit. Oh sweet. Not the one I intended to get, but still works. Damn, even Rakta can hit that drone? So that's a lab keycard. Let's look at the surgical suite. A cyborg implantation suite, prepped and ready for a patient. Computer. The computer sits unmanned, ready to receive input. Ding. Make sure Subject 91 gets moved to one of the hot labs. Minimum biosafety level 4. Once we're done with him in there, we'll need to move him out in a cryo tank until he's back on land. Nobody opens that container unless they want to be confined to cold storage themselves. Are you sure? We spent a lot of time and money implanting experimental cyberware into those test subjects. You infect them with anything from a BSL-4 lab, and their life expectancy drops to a week or two tops. On that note, where is the subject going on the surface? Do we have containment teams standing by? Is security in place to prevent an accidental breach? Let me worry about all of that. You'll be covered if anything goes wrong. We're just conducting an unusual field test, that's all. Nothing for you to lose sleep over. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Okay, Hung. Since you're new on the project, you're probably unaware of the various suites we've been installing into the test subjects. Buckle in and pay attention. I'm going to give you the basic rundown. Reaper. The Reaper suite and chip were designed for heavily enhanced combat models. They've been given a variety of implanted weapons, musculoskeletal enhancements, and an assortment of bodywear packages to enhance their close combat capabilities. The Persona Fix chip keeps them docile and ensconced in whatever fantasy life we've cooked up for them until we flip the switch. When that happens, all hell breaks loose. Reaper carriers were designed to work as distractions, saboteurs, etc. They're no good as assassins because the methods that we use to override the amygdala prevent them from recognizing specific targets. They can discern between friends and foe, but that's about it. They won't seek out a designated target over any other given hostile. Dreamer. The Dreamer package was designed for deep cover operatives. First, we take a test subject with a superficially similar background to our projected target identity. Then, we read their memories using an assist biofeedback system and program a chip for their new life and habits. The cyberware includes a number of neural shunts, data filters, and mnemonic locks to make certain their subconscious espionage activities aren't remembered. Ghost. Last is the Ghost package, the Assassination Suite. The goal of this package is simple: maximum infiltration, maximum lethality. They've got vocal modulation, retinal duplication, a slew of close combat skill wires, and whatever other spyware we can cram in. They get close to a target and wait for activation. When they've been activated, they do whatever they need to do to get within proximity of their target, and that's when the cranial bomb detonates. Jesus! Let's hope that they have a contingency plan. Yeah, that is quite grim. This research station is unlocked, ready for your perusal. How close are we on the special project, Shung? I need that subject in field testing by the end of the week. Central is breathing down my neck to get your results, and I'm not going to let a slow down on your end and get me demoted. There's only so fast I can move, Nye. Writing the persona that you specified will take a minimum of 4 days. We could do it faster if you lend us more people, but no, we wanted this kept to the core team. Get me some help from the cybernetics firmware team and we should be able to move closer to your proposed timeline. Okay, Shung, you win. You can have Ding and his 2 assistants. Ding, I want you to help Shung out with whatever he needs. This is a red ball. The end of the fiscal quarter is coming up and I will not have another bad review. Got it. We'll shift priorities immediately. Okay people, we've had to change the code for the weapons locker again. Our security drones kept crashing whenever anyone input the previous code. QA has managed to track the problem down to an Easter egg that somebody wrote into their object recognition code. Guess that 1337 has some significance to some joker on the engineering team. Given this new information, we've changed the code to 4077. Hopefully this will resolve our random drone crashes. A frozen metahuman lies within this cryo tank, awaiting surgery. The telecom blinks to life and a woman's face appears on the screen. The HUD below the image identifies her as Dr. Janet Tang. Below her name, the words Gamma 4, Pathogen Hot Lab appear in bold rent-free. It's difficult to make out the woman's features behind both the telecom screen and her hazmat mask, but her eyebrows are knit together in an angry line. She taps on the receiver. Hello? Can you hear me? She leans in towards the screen, squinting. Much of her face is covered, but her clear complexion tells you that she's probably young, in her late 20s maybe. Her mouth and jaw are hidden behind a rebreather, but you can hear the frown in her voice. All of this damned racket is making it hard to hear anything. Got alarms blaring from every corner of my lab. Don't know what you're doing over there, but it is impossible for us to work under these conditions. I swear, if this is another impromptu drill, do you know how much progress I've made on HN539? Do you? Almost none. I'm barely a quarter of the way into this thing, if that, and I've got a deadline to meet. Everything is fine over here, Doctor. Probably just another security drill. I swear, if those meatheads at Base 11 ever want this antimicrobial finished, I'm gonna need... She recoils with a start, then leads in, blinking. Yes, I am. Screen resolution is just low. It's me, Kendrick. I'm not an idiot. Kendrick's in logistics, not security. You, however, I don't know you. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better stay where you are. And just what can you do from inside that lab, huh? You're gonna come out and stop us? I'd like to see you try. I'm warning you. Things will get ugly fast if you try to leave the sector you're in. You see her hand tremble as she slaps the receiver. The telecom screen crackles and goes blank. I have a feeling that this isn't the last we've seen of Miss... What was it? Janet Tang? I doubt that she could pose any meaningful threat to us. Nevertheless, there is no harm in remaining vigilant. I probably should not have picked up the phone. Hey, it's a tram. I don't like the look of that. Let's come over here. Row upon row of man-sized pods line the walls of this room. Each pod contains a single occupant, men and women, bound by restraints, all of them apparently asleep. The people in the pod seem almost peaceful in their slumber. They occasionally twitch and sway, but otherwise they remain motionless. You lean in to get a closer look. The sleeper inside has the weathered, craggy features that you've come to associate with street-level living, but he's wearing a surprising amount of chrome for a homeless man. Ugly welts and bruises mottle his skin, and a handful of fresh wounds paint his torso. The incisions on his torso are surprisingly neat and clean. A recent surgery, perhaps. Upon closer inspection, you can see a slim braided cable that stretches from the wall to the sleeping man's data tank. The other end of the cable has been hooked to a nondescript shower-C device that has been integrated into the pod. Glancing down at the line of pods, you can see that all of the sleepers are connected to their pods in a similar fashion. Seattle, take a look at that. Each pod has one. My guess is that they're jacked into the matrix and being forced to sleep, like a dream world that shuts down their higher brain functions. Christ, look at them. There's no way they're here by choice. This is what they're all about, Seattle. Corpse like Shadowrun, they don't give a shit about metahuman rights or lives, and nothing says it better than what we're seeing now. I think there was some way to get them out of here. Something clanks nearby. The sound reverberates in the still air, stretching and lengthening into a persistent hum. It sounds a bit like the ambient drone of an air circulation system, but as you listen it grows louder. Gradually dawns on you that the noise isn't coming from the walls, but from the pods that protrude from them. What the hell is that? There's another loud clank and you catch a hint of motion in the pod nearest to you. The pod's occupant, a battered troll riddled with chrome, shifts uneasily against his restraints. As you watch, those restraints disconnect. The troll's something in the eyes slide open and his face twists into a hateful snarl. They've got him brainwashed or something. Look into his eyes, Seattle. There's nothing going on in there. No thoughts. Head empty. I can't allow you to progress any further. Shawase has invested millions of new yen into the research in this lab. I can't let you threaten it. If you try to get any closer, I'm gonna have to stop you. I see what you're doing to these people, Doc. I'm gonna put a stop to your research. Permanently. I can't let you do that. I can't. I gave you the signal. Open the pods, damn it. Wake the damn things. The troll peers at you through red, vacant eyes. The door of his pod slides open and like a chain reaction, several other pods follow suit. There's an explosion of motion from the pods, and the subjects contained within charge you like a pack of rabid beasts. I don't like the look of this. I'm gonna arm myself up. And I cannot summon the spirit from here. But I can. And Isabel can also then and I'll let we didn't even have to kill that one. Ouch. Ouch. Oh. First we repair Koshai. Then make him a little stronger. And off the troll, and I think that's a dwarf there. You turn to see Dr. Tang watching the scene from the telecom. Her face visibly pales as the final test subject falls to the floor. She splutters, barely able to form a coherent sentence. I can't. All of them? She stares bug-eyed into the camera, her pupils flitting back and forth as she takes in the carnage on her screen. But they're supposed to be killing machines. This cyberware was top of the line. Oh, did I break your toys? They weren't toys, damn it. They were invaluable research subjects, the end result of years of research. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but they were worth more than you can imagine to the science that we're doing here. All that time, all that work, flushed down the drain for nothing. I sacrificed those subjects to stop you. You know why? Because you can't be down here. I'm not kidding. You have to turn back the way you came. Look, you have no idea what we're storing down here, how dangerous this place is. Your even being here is a huge breach of every lab safety protocol on the books, but you can still turn back. The deaths of those test subjects is on you, not me. But if you do what I say, there doesn't have to be any more bloodshed. You heard the woman. We're in this up to our armpits already, and we've got no intention of turning back now. All that you're doing right now is pissing me off. Look, you just don't get it. I reckon a BSL-4 hot lab. That means that I'm surrounded by aerosolized, lethal, highly infectious pathogens. Literally anything that you find in here could kill you. Horribly. Hell, half of the stuff in here could cause a global pandemic if it were to escape quarantine. I find it funny that I say that in lockdown. This is more important than your damn job. Look, I don't expect you to listen to me, but I'm going to say it one last time. It would be in everyone's best interest for you to turn back, especially yours. We should check out. There was a door back here. I remember. Weapons locker. Right, the code 4077. Ares Voltaic Grenade. An advanced grenade which releases an electric shock in the surrounding area. Does 14 HP damage and 3 AP damage. Nemesis Arms Gyrojet Pistol. Pistol that fires 14mm rocket rounds. Inaccurate at close range. Really? I think that's also going to Duncan. Unless we get him a better sidearm. But the other door is back down here. The door is sealed tight. An access panel beside it flashes red. Lab Gamma 4 quarantined. Security lockdown engaged. Access level Omega 4 required for entry. Locked. Shouldn't be a problem though. Try that keycard that you picked up, Seattle. If I remember correctly, it should have the appropriate credentials. You lift the card to the slot, but before you can slide it through, the figure of a frightened woman erupts onto the scanner's screen. Dr. Janet Tang. I told you before, you can't come in here. Her breaths come in tight, panicked gasps. She's doing her best to stay calm, but she's clearly terrified. I don't like repeating myself, so listen, please. This lab is restricted for a reason. Beside the obvious fact that it's full of deadly contagions, it also contains highly sensitive and very expensive equipment that only trained scientists can handle. You barge in here and mishandle a single vial, and you will in all likelihood infect yourself with whatever's inside. That would be a disaster, and I mean that quite literally. Guess you'd better give me some incentive not to mishandle any vials then. Are you joking, or are you just crazy? How many times do I have to tell you what will happen if you come in here and make a mistake? Come now, Doctor. Given the remote access precautions that these labs take, I seriously doubt that exposure is a serious risk. This is anything like the labs that we had back in Russia. Anything that could pose a serious threat is hidden behind rows of negative pressure safety nets, accessible only via remote-operated Waldo frames. Then it's settled. Coming through. Right, so what's over here? There's nothing in this room. Apparently. I'm assuming there's going to be combat in here. Dr. Janet Tang stands firm. Given the situation, she looks remarkably well composed. She waits calmly as you approach, her shoulders held rigid and her arms crossed over her chest. Her two associates shuffle awkwardly behind her, their hands shaking. They both look terrified. I told you not to come in. You shouldn't be in here. Listen to me. You've made a horrible mistake. One wrong move and you'll release God knows what into the room. If you work with me instead of against me, we can all leave in one piece. I understand, and we're willing to cooperate with you to move things along faster. We all want to get out of here alive. So this is me cooperating. You'll tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. No more arguments. Tell me about the super disease that you're cooking up in here. It has a cure, right? You're talking about pathogen GT0009. SARS-3. That's the one. Tell me about it. I can't, I'm sorry, but all information on SARS-3 is classified, and for good reason. It's one of the worst things we've ever produced in this lab. We can't let you... You're not here to take GT0009, are you? Please tell me that isn't what you're here to do. I don't want to threaten a researcher, but... No more arguments. Now talk. Okay, I'm talking. Just don't do anything crazy, alright? She glances at her associates, both cowering behind her and shaking violently. You can hear one of them murmuring something in a language unknown to you. From the cadence of the words, you'd guess that it's a prayer. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. SARS-3 is a Category 4 lethal pathogen. It's 99.98% fatal, excruciatingly painful, and it kills within a matter of weeks. As of right now, the only cure is a prototype antibody treatment. We're still working on fine-tuning it. In case you haven't been paying attention, I'm going to say this one more time. SARS-3 is terrible. It's easily the cruelest, most infectious, and most lethal thing that ever to have come out of this lab. It cannot be allowed out into the wild. I was attacked by some test subjects of yours on my way here. Care to tell me anything about that? I suppose there's no withholding information at this point, is there? No. You can see the doctor's cheeks pull down as she frowns beneath her mask. She nods her head somberly. The two researchers behind the doctor mimic her gesture, their heads bobbing up and down like a couple of pigeons. They're part of a study called Project Silver Dream. Each subject has been implanted with a prototype BTL chip. The goal of the project is to create a perfect switch for sleeper agents and spies, one that can remain undetected by current scanning and identification technology. As of right now, the project is still in early testing. Our subjects are more often used to test beds for new cyberware, while the Silver Dream BTL chip is being refined, a necessary adaptation, considering that our field experiments have only achieved partial successes thus far. Unfortunately, we haven't always been able to maintain complete control over the test subjects. The Silver Dream team is still working on that. Your run-in with the test subjects wasn't an accident. I'm sure that you'd figured that out already. It was a hasty decision on my end. You already know why I did it. Though the only thing standing between you and my lab, and I was trying to avoid a containment breach. I stand by that decision for what it's worth. These test subjects of yours, is there any way to disconnect them from whatever you're feeding into their heads? The program runs on a delicate framework. Casual tinkering with the system could be dangerous, not just for our machines but for the subjects as well. If you really want to disconnect the test subjects, there's a particular order that you need to do it in. First, you'll need to disconnect the matrix interlocks. Then you'll need to initiate a supervised override of the SimSense feeds. Trying to do anything with the subjects without observing the proper procedures will be disastrous. If I were to try it myself without help and the proper permissions, I'd probably flub it. That would in turn trigger the station's matrix defenses, which would only make a bad situation worse. If you want to do anything with those test subjects, knock yourself out, but don't expect me to help. I know when I'm in over my head. I've heard enough. Now there's just a matter of what to do with you and your team. Wait, just wait. Before you do anything, please listen. We aren't bad people. We're scientists who were assigned a dreadful task and who did what they had to do to keep their jobs. That kind of thing happens to everybody. I'll bet that it's even happened to you once or twice. Please, don't hold our professionalism against us. Let us go and maybe we can do some good out there. We'll find a different corporation to work for and better projects to pursue. I'm not like you, Doc. I don't kill unless I have to, and I don't make excuses for myself when I do. Now take your men and get out of here. Janet's head jolts up in surprise. Her associates look at each other as if they're expecting you to change your mind, or if maybe convinced your words are a trick. She takes a step forward. Her voice stutters. I don't know what to say. I didn't think you'd... Thank you for sparing us. I won't forget this. Not much else we could have gotten from them anyway. Anyone else want to get the hell out of here? The sterilization countdown running, the Silver Dream thugs on our heels, and whatever horrible diseases might be floating around, the sub is sounding awfully nicer right now. Our client requested a cure, Duncan. You cannot leave before finding it. Should be somewhere within this laboratory. Likely under heavy guard, given what Dr. Tang told us. The flashing light of a nearby console catches your eyes. The static click, the handful of monitors mounted around the lab displays an unfamiliar face. Attention all staff, this is Commander Gara. I've ordered a red-level security lockdown due to a facility intrusion. All personnel should drop whatever they're doing and report to the safe rooms in Sector 9 immediately. The security breach has triggered an automated sterilization sweep. In 30 minutes' time, a squadron of drones will deoxygenate the premises to prevent the escape of any loose pathogens. If you haven't reported to Sector 9 by that time, you're done. You will not survive the sweep. A siren blares over the intercoms as the lab's monitors replace Commander Gara's hard features with a countdown timer. Moments later, a computer-generated voice activates. Matrix system wipe initiated. Sterilization system on standby. All personnel report to Sector 9. Well, they couldn't spell it out for us any clearer than that. If we stay, we die. The Namazu's sector commanders will no doubt have localized overrides with the trams. We need to eliminate them to escape. Let's not die. But what about all those test subjects? They didn't choose this fate. Shawase made that decision for them. So should we lock them up or set them free? Your call, Seattle. Once the Matrix lockdown is in place, we'll lose the opportunity to do anything regarding the test subjects. Every computer down here will be encrypted to hell and back. If you want to intervene on this test subject's behalf, either to set them free or lock them away for safekeeping, we need to do that before the timer is up. So I'm moving there, and I'm gonna get everyone else get... The lab safe is locked. You can't find a keyhole or any other sort of mechanism that could open it. It seems that the safe may only be unlocked via the Matrix. Ah, and there's a jack point over here. Alright. Let's go straight into control mode, I guess. And have Duncan move out of the way. And then I can do... that, overclock Koshai, and how did that miss? I thought there was going to be a third grenade thrown, which is just like homies. I feel like I want to armor up. Give myself haste, and then let off a shot at the grenadier. Yes, that guy. Where's the rigger? Ouch. But do I need to peer Koshai at all? And then Koshai can... Ugh. Really? Thank you. Ouchies. Ouchies. How come that one didn't get picked up by Duncan? And then heal Ragda and hit the mage. Oh shit, we should just be getting out of here. There's only 2 rounds until system shutdown. I did really not realize that. Like, fuck this, I am running. Ouch. 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 This... I think that it's safer if I just do that. Take a line that doesn't go straight through one of the dragon line. I mean, one of the whatchamacallits. You'll know what I mean. The barrier. I've confused them. Ow. Jinxed it. Alright, so I'm gonna go with everyone else first. I think Koshai might be in the way a little. But oh, I feel like I might have messed this up, because I do now remember them saying something along the lines of, we have to take out the officers if we want to use the tram. And, yeah. Is that the captain there? Ouch. But... Oh, that's not good. I can't believe we just have to use regular bullets. SMH. I may have ballsed this one, to be honest. I am really not great at turn-based games. Okay, now we can leave. I think we've got what we needed, so it should be fine. Unless we get ambushed by more security. Oh, god damn it. Right. Let's heal Duncan. And then... oh, right. Probably a waste. Did she just try and breathe gas at me? In this pandemic time? Also, holy shit. I need to heal myself up. If we do that, and then there. Oh, there's the lady we knocked out. We're not going through that door, I just want to get out of here. We've got what we came for, and now all we need to do is get out. You hiss along the maglev tracks, the car's interior glowing faintly blue from distant sunlight filtering down through the seawater. In the distance lies Captain Jomo, freedom and an escape from this laboratory. The only sounds other than electrical humming is the occasional soft bump as the tram shifts tracks. You're not going to like this, Seattle, but we're headed the wrong way. Why are we headed this way? I suspect that we've been rerouted by Shiawase's security forces, looking to shunt us into an ambush. There's nothing to indicate an error in the routing system. The diagnostic screen says emergency override. I can probably jack in and get us back on course. We'd probably face less resistance that way, but I'm not sure what kind of environment we'd be fighting in. Alternatively, we could just pull the emergency stop and go the rest of the way on foot. We'll probably be in for a bigger fight, but they'll be expecting us to be on the train. We might be able to catch them by surprise. I'll go with Isabel. Isabel jacks into the tram, types furiously for a few moments, and then nods in satisfaction. There. The tram's control system now thinks that fires have broken out on half a dozen tram lines. Conveniently, the safest path for the tram to take is the one that puts us back on track to our original destination. There's no one here. As you move through the lab, monitors all around you spring to life. Commander Gara scowls at you from the flickering screens, a look of severe irritation etched into the lines around his eyes. Your little romp through Shiawaze property has gone on long enough. Time's up, Shadowrunner. In the distance you can hear the thunderous clamour of jack-booted feet hammering on metal floors. Seconds later, a team of armed guards in Shiawaze uniforms burst into the room, their weapons held at the ready. Really pissed all over this complex, runner. Made an awful mess of everything that you've come across down here. That's a lot of money you've cost us. But now I finally got you. No way out but through me and mine. By the time I'm done with you, you'll look worse than those freaks in the cryotanks. This place deserves to burn. The things that you did to those people. Says the woman who rang our doorbell and murdered the greeting party. Expect that you won't be crying yourself to sleep over the people you've killed here, so spare me the theatrics. Now I'm gonna give you one chance to get out of this thing alive. Surrender and I promise that we won't kill you. I can't say in what state you'll be in, but at least you won't be dead. If your plan is to turn me into a murder puppet like your subjects, I'll pass. You're already a puppet, Shadowrunner. The only real difference between you and the people in those tanks is who's holding the strings. You surrender to us and we can make things better for you. Our subjects don't feel any guilt, or pain, or fear. The machines take all that away from them. You'll never need or want for anything. This is your last chance. Throw down your weapons or we'll pry them from your dead hands. What'll it be? Not a very convincing speech. No sale. Then you've brought this on yourself. You got one of your own men. Well done. And you missed. Well done. That time you hit me. How is that close enough to Duncan? If I do this, I expect that one of them might have... No, they don't. This is a nice development. Nice. Never mind. Probably the pistol is better for now. Sir, how do you miss that shot? Is this guy gonna get killed by a... Yep. That was a summoned... whatchamacallit, spirit. I imagine that would be a little embarrassing. You don't even get taken down by the guys you came to stop. It was a spirit that was summoned from your own office. Right, let's get out of here. Jomo nods as you approach, his expression stern. Had enough of kicking the hornets today? My radios sound like a whole nest of them is after you. Let's get out of here, Jomo. Jomo redlines the submersible's throttle, and you rocket away from the Shawase lab in record time. The Orc remains glued to the sonar and inertial guidance readouts, constantly scanning for pursuit. Thankfully, nobody seems to be on your tail. Soon enough, you're ascending toward the impound yard, far from the dangers of a germ warfare lab, back to the land of dour police, a leaking boat, and an unfriendly city. Home sweet home. Ooh, I got karma. Let's see how much I can spend. I guess most of this DLC is just going to be me pushing my charisma and everything up. Just all my charisma skills up. I'm gonna go talk to the gang, see if they have anything they want to share with me, and then I'm probably gonna finish up stream there. Oh, and collect the payment. The workstation and mission computer. Claim payment for retrieving the cure of Mankai Sao. Submit the job as finished and await the response. A few moments later, a message pops onto the screen. Glad to hear the job's done. Payment is attached. Good work. Cool. Do I have anything on the BBS? I probably could have grabbed stuff from that lab, but I didn't. You catch Duncan at the end of his workout routine. He grabs the towel wrapped around his neck and pulls it toward his face, mopping sweat to reveal flushed skin and brown eyes. Hey, glad you're here. I was just about to come find you. Grabs his goggles, hanging from his top bunk, and slaps them over his eyes. The side jobs are fine and good, but we've got an opportunity here. We shouldn't squander it. Get me into that station and I'll make Crate pay for what she's done. I think we should take advantage of these side jobs. Never know what could happen. We might find something that'll be helpful when we finally confront Crate. Or we might find ourselves dead. Running the shadows is a risky business. We want to wind up 6 feet under before we ever get to Crate? We want to take that risk? You want to go after Crate now? Fine. Go! But know that you'll be alone. Stick with me, however, and we'll go together. Which odds do you like better? He slams the side of his fist onto the wall, his expression twisted with frustration. Now's the time to take action. What are you waiting for? We go in like this, all wound up, and there's no telling what'll happen. No, we need to approach this wisely. Use these side jobs as a way to gather information and breathe. Then we'll take on Crate. Duncan turns away from you, furious, and begins to pace the length of the room. God damn it! As he paces, his temper recedes. He eventually stops near his cot and runs a hand down his face. With his eyes locked onto the bed, he addresses you. You're right. I need to get this under control. Otherwise I could lose control with Crate. He looks at you, mouth is a straight line. You let me know when you're ready to leave. I'll be there. Hey Duncan, have you noticed all the bird crap in the bolt hole? What gives? Dunno, I haven't seen any. His lips part and he snaps his fingers. Actually, hey, now you mention it, I might have heard a bird. Yeah, that's right. I thought that maybe it was just a rat scratching around inside the walls. Didn't really sound like one. Little fucker kept me up a couple nights ago. Does it count as an infestation if there's only one? If it's keeping me awake, then fuck yes it does. Needs to die. That seems a little extreme. Maybe you can smoke it out or something. I'm not borrowing my room for a fucking bird. Or just lure it out somehow. As long as I don't wake up in the night to you calling, "Here, birdie, birdie, birdie." Even with his eyes covered, you can feel his eyes narrow. Ha. Not a chance. Got a feeling that this whole thing is going to wind up being a real pain. He looks around and shakes his head. Jesus, this place. Can't wait to get out of here. So, how are the gums? You mean these? Duncan raises his arms and flexes. A broad smile stretches across his normally serious face. Duncan, are you okay? He puts his arms down, but his smile lingers a couple seconds longer. You asked. The orc suddenly looks a little embarrassed. He scratches his nose. I don't know. Thought it might relieve some of the tension in here. I can feel it in my bones. It's been a rough day. That was a shitty question anyway. Really, what the hell, Seattle? My guns are guns. I keep them in operating shape, like any decent marksman would. Any other questions? No. No. This might be a surprise, but Duncan isn't my favourite character in this game. He's not my least favourite, but he's definitely not my favourite. Stale metallic air fills Isabel's cabin. The round window that's usually cracked is shut tight, and it feels like the temperature in the room has raised somewhat, maybe due to the lack of ventilation. Isabel is on her knees, hunched over her cyber deck, typing vigorously. You can see the sweat beading on her forehead. She looks exhausted. 4:19 AM, 1 nanodrive. You okay there, Isabel? Isabel turns over to you. A pair of tired eyes meet your gaze. Her shoulders look stiff, as if she's been hunched over for a while, and a single red cable protrudes from the dark mass of her head. She repeats herself. 1 nanodrive. She leans back down and continues to clack away on her deck. 4:48 AM. 1 splitter. 5:33 AM. Small double-ended cable bundle. Her voice suddenly turns angry as her fingers jam the keyboard. And my favourite hairband. What's this about a hairband? Her lips pucker as she studies your face. The damned bird took my favourite hairband. I've never seen you this frazzled before. It's a little upsetting. The decker moans, clearly irritated. She closes her eyes and rubs her temples. For a few weeks now, my things, have been disappearing. I didn't notice at first, because it was just small objects, mostly food wrappers. But once my hairband went missing, I started looking around and realized that quite a few of my smaller possessions were gone. I've never seen you wear a hairband. She shoots you a sassy, narrow-eyed look. You wouldn't have, because it's missing. And last night I finally saw the culprit. A damned bulbul. I was jacked into the Matrix doing some routine tasks, and something came through my window. I watched it land on the wooden floor and hop around, like it was searching for someone. It was the bulbul, and it was looking for me. But I was in the Matrix, my body was right here. She pats the floor near her computer. The stupid thing stared at me until it knew I wasn't awake, then rifled through my stuff and started carrying things away. Came back 4 times in 2 hours, accessing my Matrix logs here to confirm the times. Shit, I needed that splitter too. What are you gonna do about it? I need to figure out where the bulbul's stashing what it's stealing. I need to get my things back. If anyone with any kind of technical savvy finds them before I do, I have no doubt that they'll end up on the black market. Stupid bird doesn't know that it's sitting on a fortune in custom parts. Alright, I've got to crack down on this, Seattle. So if you need something from me, tell me what it is now. I feel like that's a bad question to ask her right now. Ever play any video games on that monstrosity of a terminal? Fuck no. The octopus isn't for video games. Besides, I have better things to do than fight make-believe digital enemies. Fighting real digital enemies is way more satisfying. At least you've got your priorities down. The skills that I choose to hone are the ones that I find the most practical. In this line of work, anything that can help you survive has to take priority over anything else. See you. A noodle machine. Gobbert raises an eyebrow. Another day in paradise, eh, Seattle? Seriously though, we should get on that run for key and land. The sooner we hit the police station, the sooner we can watch Crate's messy, public downfall. Not usually one for spectacular sports, but this is one that I want a front row seat for. Don't worry, Gobbert, we'll hit the station soon enough. So what's up with you? Hey, Gobbert, is that the Detcon noodle extruder? She gives the looming machine an uncertain glance. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. What is it doing here? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm It sure as hell wasn't in my cabin before you left for combat pangs. I can't imagine why the cops would have put it here. Maybe it followed us home from DEFCON. Followed us home? How could it? I don't know, alright? It's just here. Waiting. Waiting? For what? I don't know. Alright, I don't know. Let's just change the subject, okay? Maybe if we ignore it, it'll go away. How are you doing with all of this? I don't know. About as well as it can be expected, I guess. How about you? How are you dealing with it? You got it worse than any of us, what with the magical torture and your night locked in a box and all. Don't worry about me, Gobbet. I'll be fine. Hands on her hips, she gives you a single solemn shake of her head. Sorry, can't help it. You're a friend, so I worry. That comes as part of the package. With that being said, I do believe you when you say that you'll be alright. She offers you a lopsided smile. I think that we all will. I mean, if we could see what we saw in the walled city and come through alright, we'll do the same here, right? Right. Of course I'm right. We're certified Yama King killing badasses. We'll be fine. After we kill Crate, what's next for you? Got any big plans? Not really. I'm happy where I'm at. Even Auntie Ching has gotten nicer since the whole walled city thing. What about you? You think I'm doing something different after this is all over? I don't know. Maybe. I haven't put a lot of thought into it. Yeah, well, don't think too hard. Things would get boring around here if you took off. I don't do well with boredom. Of course, even if you were to scurry off somewhere, I'd keep tabs on you. It's what friends do. I'd prefer it if you stayed though. You're the only person on this boat who's brave enough to eat my cooking. Gotta run. Later. Right, let's go have a chat with Ractor. Old buddy, old boy. Welcome back. Was there something else that you needed? Have you been doing any more design work on Koshai recently? As a matter of fact, I have. Nothing that I'll be fabricating anytime soon, mind you, but I've been exploring a recent obsession, trying to hammer it into something useful. The concept is somewhat, how to put it, avant-garde, perhaps, but with time I hope to put it to the test. Tell me more about this avant-garde concept of yours. Perhaps it would be best if I showed you. Just a moment. I'll clear away the clutter so that you can see for yourself. He turns to his terminal and rattles off a series